All right, it is now 6:30. I am Chevrolet Mayor Micah Watson, and I hereby call to order this public hearing. The first order of business will be to call the roll. I am here, Town Administrator Galloway is here, and I believe the Town Attorney, Mr. Pounds, is on. Yes, let me promote him. Is the council member from Ward 1 present? Council member from Ward 2.
Yeah, thanks.
Councilmember LeGloic is present. Council member from Ward 3.
Present.
Council member from Ward 4.
Present.
Council member from Ward 5. Council member Garces. I do not see you, but I have two different lists going. So if someone sees him or Council member Wade, please let us know. And council member from Ward 6.
Present.
Okay. Seeing 5 elected officials present, we have a quorum to conduct business. This public hearing is hereby convened for the express purpose of discussing the draft charter amendment 1-25, Council of the Town of Cheverly, Maryland, Charter Amendment Resolution 125, concerning the annexation of the properties commonly known as Hospital Hill. I will read the introduction and then we will kick it off. A charter amendment resolution of the Town Council of Cheverly enlarging the corporate boundaries of the Town of Cheverly by annexing into the corporate limits of the Town of Cheverly lands contiguous and adjoining to the town's existing corporate boundaries, property commonly known as Hospital Hill, consisting of approximately 44.1867 acres of land in total, located generally Hospital Hill, aka the old Cheverly Hospital site. The published draft charter resolution is just that. At this time, it is a draft, and we are holding this public hearing in order to solicit any residents and other stakeholder input on the resolution. It is a very simple, in my opinion, charter resolution. The annexation is fairly straightforward and annexes essentially all of the properties not already in the Town of Cheverly that lie east of the Baltimore-Washington Parkway and west of the Town of Cheverly. I'm going to now turn to Attorney Pounds and ask him if he has any corrections to what I have said or anything else he thinks the public generally should know at the outset.
No, Mr. Mayor, your description is 100% correct, both as to what the resolution is and what it's intended to do, and the purpose of this meeting tonight. So, yes, I mean, this is a resolution to annex the property known as Hospital Hill, and everything you said is absolutely correct.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Galloway, do you have anything to add at this time?
No, sir.
Okay. I will just, as a final comment, say that this is just the first step in what will be a multi-month process, likely stretching throughout the entire spring of 2026 before the council takes a final vote up or down on this charter amendment annexation resolution. So there will be plenty of time coming up. As I say, over the next many months, this will not be rushed. This will be drawn out in order to maximize public input on what is a fairly simple but also a fairly momentous annexation by the town. The second point I will make is that this is not the introduction. We are holding this public hearing tonight in an abundance of desire to receive public input. We are not, the mayor and council are not introducing this resolution tonight or conducting a first reader tonight. I anticipate there will be an introduction and a first reader of some form of this draft in 2 weeks' time, but that will ultimately be up to the council. I will stop there and invite any council members who would like to say anything at this time, or if you prefer, we can go directly to members of the public. Please, if you would like to speak, raise your hand on the Zoom so that we can identify you. Are there any council members at this time who would like to speak before we start the public portion? Seeing none, we will go to the attendees, and the first hand that I see is Miss Sallow. Your name and ward, please, and you have 3 minutes.
3 minutes. All right. Okay. So the first thing, and I think most of us know that the first thing is I'm so glad we got to this point already. So let's move on. The question of the fire department that we can call on for this property is not the Chevrolet Volunteer Fire Department, which has been closed since 2010. So I hope we will get that one fixed up. The other thing is there's a lot of references to Exhibit A. Will Exhibit A be the meets and bounds, otherwise known as the courses and distances? I think Mr. Pounds probably can answer that.
That is correct. The Exhibit A is the meets and bounds, which we do have with the, we have gotten from an engineer to prepare that for us. So that is correct.
Okay. Okay, I've gone through quite carefully, and if I have any suggestions for copy editing or phrasing, something like that, should I talk about them now or submit them later?
I will leave that up to the mayor as to how you would suggest those. I think they probably end up coming to me, but as far as the mechanism, I will leave that up to the mayor.
Okay, you want to answer that, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you would like to use some of your 3 minutes now, you're welcome to. You will probably also, effectively probably also be best served by also emailing them. So it's your call.
Okay, I'm not going to use my 3 minutes for that. There is one thing that I think needs to be looked at, and it's where take a look at the map where Lydell Road and Pepsi Place meet.
Mm-hmm.
The annexation will take in a little piece along that, effectively making bringing Pepsi Place into the town where it wasn't in the town before. But there's a discrepancy between the layout as shown on the Johnson map, which was part of the annexation, and the PG Atlas. The little triangle, which according to PG Atlas is within the right-of-way of belongs to the United States of America, the National Park Service. And according to the Johnson map, it's within the current boundaries of the town of Chevrolet. And we don't want to make a mistake there. I cannot figure out which is the right way. So you'll figure it out. The other thing is, and this is going a little bit beyond what the scope of tonight's meeting, but I'm calling your attention to the fact that all of the laws of Chevrolet will be applicable to the whatever goes on the annexed property. And that is a good reminder that our general hope is that the development, that is whatever goes on the property, and its residents will consider themselves part of Chevrolet, not just in Chevrolet.
Mhm.
Okay. End of story there. I did my 3 minutes, I think.
All right, thank you for that. And yes, please do follow up with an email. We will take down the note on the Lidl and Pepsi, property wedge to check that. But please feel free to follow up with us. The next public input comes from Mr. Price. Your name and ward, sir, and you have 3 minutes.
Fred Price, Ward 4. It's my understanding that the final effort to annex in will have to go to the county council and they will vote on it. Is that correct?
No, sir. That's not correct.
Could you tell me what the process is for approval of this item?
Well, I will hazard a guess, and then Mr. Pounds will correct. But this will be introduced. This resolution will be introduced by the mayor and council. It will have a first reading, a second reading, a public hearing, and a third reading, not necessarily in that order. Perhaps a second public hearing, if that's the will of the mayor and council, and then it will be adopted by the mayor and council. And then, unless there is a legal intervention by any of the residents or property owners, which is not relevant here, or by Chevrolet's current residents, it will be effective, I believe, 40 days after adoption. Mr. Pounds?
Yeah, that is all correct. And in addition, the actions of Chevrolet get sent to both the county and also the state for their review and comment after that time, but it does not go to them for approval prior to the vote. And they will only comment as to the legality, primarily with the state planners, to make sure there are no issues dealing with it at the state level or the issues that way. But yes, everything the mayor said is absolutely correct. And like I said, with those additional steps at the end to make sure that indeed everything was legal as to how it was done. So that's what happens at the very, very end.
So once we pass ordinance to say that we have annexed this area, that's it. Nobody can say nobody has input in it other than through a lawsuit or something.
That is basically correct. And like I said, unless the state or the county believes that there was a mistake made, but basically that is correct. Once the town annexes and all of the votes are approved, then without any indication that there was a problem, then it is adopted. Yes, that is correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Price. I don't see any other hands up at this time, so I will make another call for individuals to raise your hand in Zoom. If you cannot raise your hand, give us a shout. I see Ms. Abbott, so we will go to her next, and then if there are no other public input, we'll go back to the council. Ms. Abbott, and I see Mr. Friesen. Ms. Abbott, you are first, your name and ward, and you have 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Kate Abbott, and I'm in Ward 1. And I was wondering what has been done. I know that the question was posted. Has anybody looked to see what additional costs would be incurred and what additional revenues? I mean, the pros and cons of annexing the extra space. We all seem to be all pro, but there might be other sides of the story. The other question I have for you is about Bladensburg. They tried to annex it. Clearly they did not. Is it possible that another township nearby could try to annex a space? And there was a third question, which I don't recall, but perhaps by the time you finish answering, I'll remember what it is.
Okay, I'll tackle the first one, the second one first. which is I don't think so. It's always possible that a neighboring municipality could be opposed to or try to oppose Chevrolet's annexation, but I don't believe they would have any basis to do so. We would hope we would expect to have a more airtight case than Bladensburg did. Mr. Pounds, do you have anything to add?
No, that's 100% correct. What Bladensburg tried to do was so unusual. I don't see anybody really trying to pull that again.
On your first point about the cost, yes, we are tracking the costs or the costs and benefits of annexing the property. Our expectation is that the final build out of the property will be largely like the current plan, which would be predominantly residential. Some of those services will be handled by those buildings. Some of those services will need to be provided by Chevrolet taxpayers. And then, of course, there will be a commercial element, a small commercial element to the property. So I think, again, that's a policy discussion that we will have at public meetings over the next few months. But I think, yes, we are carefully considering the costs as well as the revenue benefits and the community benefits that will come with annexation.
Okay. I believe that's all I have for today.
Okay. You can raise your hand again if you come up with the third question.
Okay.
Mr. Friesen, your name and ward, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. This is Mark Friesen, Ward 1. My question was in relation to trying to understand, and maybe this is further in our process, if and when Hospital Hill gets annexed, is the decision of if it's one ward or more get decided further along, or is that part of when we annex it, we determine how it incorporates into Chevrolet?
Yeah, great question. I think we will have to make a political decision as a council about what ward it is in. I think it's probably going to be in Ward 1 because it'll predominantly be abutting Ward 1. I think the legal question that we will need to research is whether or at some point would we need to do a mid-decade redistricting because of the new residents, but there will not be any residents on that property for a number of years. So that is something that I think you accurately point out we need to research and have a plan for. But we will not be annexing any residents because there's no one there. And if you assume that, let's say, sometime in the second half of 2026, the annexation is legalized or finalized and becomes true, there are at least, in my opinion, an additional 24 months before a human being moves into their unit there. Again, ballpark. Did you have another question, or did I cut you off? Go ahead.
No, you're fine. That was the answer I was looking for. I guess the second part, and this is probably beyond the scope of this specific meeting, is what is the impact on the methodology for deciding whether the streets get open from Lockwood over into Hospital Hill? I assume that is beyond the scope, but it is certainly what I'm looking to find out.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it's necessarily beyond the scope of the meeting. So absolutely, I think it is beyond the scope of the resolution because the resolution, as you kind of alluded to, does not answer any of probably the thorniest questions, financial arrangements, detailed allocation of public services, street openings, other kinds of non-vehicular connections, stormwater. Those are all issues that are much more complicated than this kind of cut and dry annexation resolution. And so I don't think that the annexation either way changes the dynamics for opening the roads, for example. I think the question of whether or not to open the roads will have to be answered whether those parcels are in the town of Cheverly or not, because the development will be there. The developer will continue to seek the opening of the roads. Again, whether their development is in Cheverly or adjacent to Cheverly.
Great. I'm just grateful that we have kind of an orderly methodology from this annexation. I think this is helpful, and I'm grateful.
Great, thank you for that. Let me check the list. I believe all council members have been successfully promoted. If you'll please let me know if anyone is out there and not a panelist. I do not. Oh, Ms. Ryan, go ahead. You please share your name and ward, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council, for this opportunity. This is Denise Ryan. I'm in Ward 1. I've been trying my best to pay as close attention to this as I can, but I'm a little confused, and that is I thought that before annexation could occur, we needed the approval of the property owners. Is that correct?
Well, generally speaking, yes. So annexation is generally, a town can generally only annex existing properties or developed properties if they have some combination of the approval of the voters who live there and the property owners, even if they're non-resident property owners there. The simplicity of this situation is that we have no residents of any kind, no human residents currently, and we have only a governmental property owner. We have no private property owners. So in a sense, the property rights aspect of what I just said doesn't apply in the same way as if this were owned by a company or a number of residents or so. Mr. Pounds, does that sound okay?
No, exactly, Mr. Mayor. You are 100% correct, and I feel like you're taking my job, really. But no, you are outlining it, 100% correctly.
So then, do we have the blessing or endorsement of the county to annex the property?
That's a complicated question, but my belief is that we will not face any opposition from the county in bringing their parcel of land into the town's corporate limits.
So then this is an exercise to show whether or not the town of Cheverly approves or disapproves in changing our charter to annex this property.
Exactly. I mean, there is even in an annexation as simple as this one, where there's no human residents and no non-governmental owners, it is still a lengthy legal process. And this hearing and the subsequent hearings are being held by the council because we are concerned first and foremost about Cheverly residents' views of whether these parcels should be in town.
Excellent. Thank you. I'm glad I understand.
Thank you. All right. I don't see any other hands, so I'm going to put a call out for council members who would, if there's any council members, including Mr. Galloway or Mr. Pounds, if you have any comments that you'd like to make, and then again, members of the public, feel free to continue to try to raise your hands in the next few minutes. Are there any council members who would like to come in at this time? Okay, seeing none. Mr. Galloway, do you have anything to add for public consumption at this time?
Nothing to add for right now.
All right. Excellent. Mr. Pounds, anything to add?
No, just as a follow-up to what you said, Mr. Mayor, that we will be having other public hearings about this in the future. And this is just more of an informational session tonight, but we will be further discussing this and bring it before the public.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think, public, I think that the mayor and council are likely, you will likely see this on the December 18th town meeting agenda as an introduction and first reader. It may be different than this draft. So, because the purpose of this draft was really to spark this discussion tonight. It will be substantially similar to this. As I said, tonight is not an introduction. I expect December 18th's town meeting will be the formal introduction, and the draft will no longer say draft, and it will be the document that we proceed with. Again, we will not be adopting it in December because that would not be following the legal process. There will be at least 3 readers. Those may be spaced out. They may not be immediately right after each other. And there will also be at least one more formal public hearing such as this, and possibly a second additional public hearing, depending on resident feedback and the will of the council. Are there any other comments for this evening? If you are trying, Ms. Salo, your hand is up. Is it still up?
It's again up.
Okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to know. I was very pleased to see that it was possible to see the transcript alongside the regular screen. But can we get a copy of that? Actually, there's no way for the user, the end user, to copy this transcript.
I'm not familiar with how the transcript works. I will pass that message to Mr. Galloway, or he's probably listening either way. But I will ask about the transcript.
Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. I'm looking for Councilmember Wade because I believe he had something come up but was going to join us. Oh, he is. I think he's a panelist. Want to make sure he has an opportunity, and he has his hand up as an attendee. All right, I'm going to try to promote him, and then I'll give one final call to the council to see if there are any final comments before we adjourn this hearing.
Mayor, he's been promoted. He just has to accept it. Okay, there we go.
Okay, welcome, Councilmember Wade. I was simply making one final call for any public input. I can update you on that offline, and then also a final call to any council members who wanted to make any comments before we adjourn this hearing.
Thank you. Again, excuse me, Mayor and Council, for being a little tardy. Unfortunately, had a little family emergency had to take care of. But thank you again for the opportunity for residents to voice their opinions regarding this, something that's very important to everyone in the town going forward. So I look forward to more opportunities for people to discuss this very important issue going forward.
Thank you for that. And that reminds me to remind the public to also feel free to email your comments and feedback either to town clerk at Cheverly for the formal record, or also, of course, to your council member and me as you're able to provide us your direct feedback. But if you would like something formally in the record, please also copy or send it to townclerk@cheverly-md.gov. Council, are there any final comments? All right, hearing none. Is there a motion to adjourn this public hearing?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Briner. Was that seconded by Councilmember Fry?
Yes.
Okay, great. There's been a motion to adjourn. It's been seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The motion passes. The hearing is adjourned. Council, we will reconvene at 7:30 for the work session. Thank you, everyone, and have a good evening. And again, the public is invited to that as well, but it is on a different link. Have a good rest of the hour.